Hello guys, this is Doronsmovies and you're watching the 28th episode of the lore Q&A. So today I'll be answering some of the questions you guys left on the previous Q&A video, and if you'd like to get your questions answered, make sure to put them on the newest Q&A lore video. And also, if I don't answer your questions, you can copy paste them on the next video and I will probably pick it up eventually. Also, you can send your questions by YouTube personal messages, Facebook and Twitter. And also, if you send your questions by Facebook and Twitter, I will probably reply to them eventually and could also feature them in the Q&A. Alright, so let's start. Severin Wow asks, why do you think there are some goblins that remain neutral? I think it might have something to do with profit, but yeah, what is your opinion on this? Second, in the last Q&A, you said Wrathion was the only uncorrupted black dragon, yet at the end of War Crimes, he helped Garrosh escape. Could this be the first sign of corruption? What do you think drove him to this? I thought about using Garrosh and the Iron Horde as a potential weapon against the Burning Legion, but Wrathion has seen what we, the players/champions of Azeroth, can accomplish, and surely he would have a bit more faith that we could bring the Burning Legion to their knees. It seems there is more to this than meets the eye. What are your thoughts, and also, what is the music you use in your outros, as it sounds amazing? Okay, so for the first question, well, not all of the goblins joined the Horde in Cataclysm. I mean, it was just a Bilgewater cartel, I believe, which is, as I said, I believe it's kind of the biggest goblin faction out there, and also I'm guessing they don't really have that many advantages like the rest of the goblins. They don't really have that many advantages of joining a certain faction. I mean, the Bilgewater cartel joined the Horde because their homes got destroyed, and yeah, they needed some allies in order to, kind of rebuild. Plus, it did kind of work out well for them. But yeah, there isn't really too much of a reason for other cartels, like the other goblins, to join the certain faction, because I mean, when you look at it this way, they have their own town, they trade with both Alliance and the Horde, which equals obviously more profit. They don't get involved in anything, so they don't have that many losses, unless it's like some contract work or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, they're kind of neutral and they earn money from both factions, so it kind of does really work for them. And yeah, they aren't really that big, so I don't see why they would really want to join any factions. And also, I mean, when you look at the goblins and their personality, it is kind of different from the other races, and there aren't many of the same, personality characteristics type races in the world of Azeroth. So they aren't really known for their loyalty, They're more about the greed, and they're pretty much willing to go to any length in order to get paid. I mean, they will do anything if the pay is good, but there are some cases of goblins being good. For example, I believe because it was Gazlowe that helped out Bane a bit and even cut the cost when Thunderbluff was under attack. But yeah, usually goblins, it's like in their blood basically, that they're kind of greedy and all they care about is if it works out for them. So I guess the neutral, all the neutral bonuses and their race characteristics are kind of the reason why there are some still neutral goblins out there. Alright, so for the second question, well, we were given hints of this in the War Crimes novel that recently got released, I believe a month ago. And Wrathion did actually, kind of organize everything, like Garrosh's escape, Kairos and all of that. But I don't really think it is a sign of corruption. I mean, you say why he would do what he did if he actually saw what we were capable of and he could just rely on us, but I actually feel that he did kind of notice that, and that he actually did predict the future based on that, and that it wasn't really all that good, and he realized that Garrosh must complete his destiny in order for the world to be saved. I'm guessing that's my opinion. I mean, it's what I believe. It wasn't really clearly explained, but yeah, I feel that is his actual intention. Now, I don't know at this point what will happen in Worlds of Draenor. Like, we could actually learn some new power that would help us out, or uncover something that could help us in the future, or maybe even get another character that would know more about the Burning Legion, their weaknesses or whatnot. But that could be one of the reasons why Wrathion wants us to go to Worlds of Draenor, to go to an alternate universe. There's probably quite a good reason behind that. Also, I kind of see Wrathion, as kind of a Illidan type of a character, if you know what I mean. He's a bit of a vigilante that would kind of do whatever needs to be done for a greater good of the world, even though he can do some bad stuff in the process, as long as it's for a greater good. So yeah, I do think there is some sort of a deeper cause behind Wrathion and his action. And for the last question, well, I have actually been getting a lot of questions regarding the outro music, and I would just like to answer it here to, kind of keep it clear. And I don't actually think it is a standalone track, but I got it on Audio Micro when I was partnered with RPM, and yeah, they aren't really the best network, but I did manage to get a few tracks from them, and it was actually called Epic Battle 1 or something like that, I believe. Well, I was just searching for some music for a video, and I found it, and I thought it sounded cool. So I kind of started using it in my videos. So I hope that kind of cleared out for the people who were wondering about that. Alright, next. Yukine asks, is there really a connection between the elemental lords from Azeroth and the ones from Draenor? There is a quest that calls upon Draenor, elemental lord of fire, where you have to defeat him as he was either corrupted by fell magics or he used them, which caused the other elementals in the area to become corrupted too. And I was wondering, if there are elemental lords in Draenor, there might be old gods in the plan. What do you think? Well, it could actually be possible, and there were some signs by the Arakoa, I believe during when the first horde formed on Draenor, and some Arakoa, like a smaller faction, were summoning an old god on Draenor. I don't think they were successful in that, but the old gods aren't actually native to Azeroth, and they're supposedly all over the universe, although their history isn't really that known. So yeah, I mean, they could be on other planets as well. Also, I wouldn't say that the elementals are connected, I mean from Draenor to Azeroth, but they're actually quite similar. And I do remember when I was reading the Shattering novel, Thrall was, when the whole cataclysm was happening, Thrall was concerned about the elements on Azeroth, and he noticed that something was going bad, like Orgrimmar got on fire and all of that. So there was some issues, and he went to Nagrand, to learn more about the shamanism and the elements, so he can try to fix that. And he actually managed to, I don't think he intentionally did that, but he found a pebble in his bag, and he talked to one of the elementals, I believe it was Gordog. And Gordog actually sensed the fear of the Azeroth elementals and the coming cataclysm, as he remembers what he kind of felt when Draenor was torn apart. So I would say that the elementals are quite similar, if not the same, on each world, because the shamans, the shamans can communicate both on Draenor and on Azeroth, although I don't think there is any, specific connection between the Azeroth elementals and the Draenor ones. Okay, continuing on, Gazetto asks, I was just wondering, does the Order of the Silverhand still exist, or have all of them joined the Argent Crusade, and what did they do before they joined the Argent Crusade? Well, it is still active today, like the Silverhand, but it's only a few paladins here and there, and they didn't really join the Argent Crusade, but it's not really a faction as it was before. But pretty much the backstory behind this was that the Silverhand was pretty much destroyed in Third War. If you played Warcraft 3, you would see what happened. And the survivors turned into the Scarlet Crusade. At first it was kinda decent, but then the Scarlet Crusade turned completely evil and insane, and they turned into complete extremists, and they would even kill people if they suspected they were undead, even though they weren't actually undead. So it was pretty crazy there, and some of the paladins, well, most of the Silverhand paladins didn't like it there, and they formed the Argent Dawn, even though the Silverhand was still out there, but most of the paladins went to the Argent Dawn. And now in Wrath of the Lich King, at the Light's Hope Chapel, there was that, like a bit of a cinematic in the game, with Darian Mogran and all of that, and the remains of the Order of the Silverhand and the Argent Dawn banded together into the Argent Crusade, which is still active today and is led by Tyrion, I believe. Now, as I said, the Silverhand hasn't been completely disbanded, as there are still a few paladins left, but majority of the Silverhand paladins joined the Argent Crusade. Okay, and the last question is by James, and he asks, I play a shaman and a druid, and I have one question about the differences between druidism and shamanism. They seem quite similar in the fact that they both have strong ties to the natural world, and it was druids and the shamans that teamed together to help fight the cataclysm. I almost believe it is as if druids focus on one single of all-powerful elements called nature, whereas shamans harness the power of the lesser elements that are part of the nature, them being fire, water, air and earth, etc. Well, you could say that the shamans and the druids are similar, as they both kind of work in the ways of the nature, they're kind of connected to the world, but they wouldn't really be the same as, and they're actually quite different when you look at it. The shamans are kind of connected to the world, but the way they work is they actually communicate with the elementals of the world, and they ask the elementals for favors, aids, wisdom, and all of that. So if they're going to do something and the elementals don't like it, they won't give them their powers. So it is kind of limited, but if they respect the elementals, they will get whatever they want, as long as it's not, harming the world or whatnot. So on the other hand, you have the dark shamanism, which works a bit different. And the way it works is that there are, these dark shamans, and I believe that happened in Siege of Orgrimmar. And what the Dark Shamans do is they torture and, kind of capture the elementals and force them to give them their powers. But, that doesn't really work out too well in the end. So, they should probably just stick to the actual shamanism, because the elementals wouldn't approve of what Garrosh did. Now, on the other side, there are the druids. And unlike the shamans who have to, request the powers, druids revere and respect the nature and, kind of keep the balance in the world. And they get their powers from the nature itself. So you could say that the druids are kind of, the caretakers of the world of Azeroth. So they also reverse certain animals in which they can shapeshift. So for example, they worship either bears or panthers. Although it's not really like what trolls do, like the worshipping, they more kind of, respect them. Have like a bit of a connection with them, sort of like something like the wildhammers and the griffins do, although they can't really shapeshift into griffins. The whole druidism thing is kind of similar to the law thing that the trolls work on, worshipping certain spirits or whatnot. So that's pretty much how the trolls became druids as well, but it is a bit of a longer story. So yeah, even though it kind of sounds similar, the druids and the shamans, and there are some overlaps here and there, I would generally say that they are quite different classes. Alright, and that is all I have for now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, and also give some feedback on what you think and what you would like to see next. Also, you can leave your questions by YouTube personal messages, YouTube Q&A, comment section, and Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.